Let's talk some Texans here on the YouTube channel. Welcome in. Plenty to get to after the Texans take down the New England Patriots in the preseason opener 20-9. CJ Stroud got the start. Tank Dell thrilled. The defense did what the defense might do this season, and it's plenty to talk about tonight. Appreciate you stopping in. I'm Cody Stoots if you've never been here before. If you have been here before, you're probably already subscribed, and if you're not, I would love a subscription down below. A thumbs up on this video if you're enjoying yourself or having a good time. And, of course, check out Houston Football, my website where I do all my writing about the Houston Texans, www.houfutball.com. There's a link in the description below. We'll get to some of the big things from this game. We'll take your comments in between as well. So fill up that comment section. Let's get after it, and let's start with CJ Stroud's lackluster start on tonight or in tonight's game. Man, this was not exactly what you wanted to see out of CJ Stroud. He throws the interception on the first drive. That was not fun, but put everything in context, okay? Put everything in context when it comes to CJ Stroud and the start that he had against the Patriots. The context of the situation is he had two players playing in the spots that they're actually going to play in on the offensive line when the season gets here. Juice Scruggs started at center, Kenyon Green started at left guard, and everybody else was a backup in that position. George Fant played left tackle. Fant is going to be the right tackle when Titus Howard is out. The right guard was Michael Dieter, and the right tackle was Austin Deculus. And that offensive line played very poor while C.J. Stroud was in there. Now, the offensive line held up when Stroud sat back, double pumped, and then threw the ball right to Jalen Mills. But some of those other plays just sort of fell apart from that standpoint. Let's talk about the interception, then we can go through the rest of the plays that C.J. Stroud had. The interception's a bad one. D'Amico Ryans talked about it after. He said, hey, we can't have that. And that's just a matter of he should have hit Dalton Schultz on the check down. Because you go back and you watch that play over and over and over and over and over again, you see that it's very clear Dalton Schultz is right there. Now, it's 3rd and like 15 ultimately. You're not getting a first down giving the ball to Dalton Schultz, but you're also not going to turn the ball over. Schultz gets you about 8-9 yards. You turn it over to one of the better special teams units in football when it comes to punt coverage, and you punt the ball, and then the other team's got to play offense against your defense. That's what you would have liked to have seen from C.J. Stroud. Now, Stroud, after the game, explained if he trusts his eyes and he makes that throw the first time he sees it, then maybe there's a different result, but he ultimately wants that back, and he knows next time he's going to dump that down to Dalton Schultz. And this goes along with one of those things where D'Amico Ryans has talked about it, even Bobby Slowick has talked about it. When guys are making mistakes, do they know how to fix them? Do they know what went wrong? Do they know that they're going to correct them? And that's Stroud. He talked about, I didn't trust my eyes. And if you watch the play, he kind of double pumps. And I wonder what the result would have been if he just lets that sucker fly on the first thing that he sees and he trusts his eyes in that moment. Like he said, maybe it's a first down. He even mentioned that they expected to see that very look in the game plan. So the interception, not fun. And then I'm basically putting the rest of the plays in the context of, man, this offensive line was just no good. It was just no good when C.J. Stroud was in there. They start pretty good coverage. He makes a quick decision, good operation. He gets the ball to Nico Collins. Then they run the ball a couple of times. And if it wasn't for Devin Singletary's shiftiness, it would have been a 3-and-out. But then on 1st and 10, after they get the first down, Austin Deculus just lets the defender right through from the right tackle spot. And CJ gets sacked for a 15-yard loss. The very next play, George Fant just lets the defender through from the left tackle spot. And you're like, what is going on here with this offensive line? And I'm watching this and I'm just like, are they going to block anybody? And then the interception, we mentioned it. The coverage was good on the interception. And then you go to the second drive and they run the ball. Okay, they run the ball to get things going, calm everything down. You're going to see that from this offense. They're going to trust C.J. Stroud. They're going to try to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers. They're going to try to get the ball out there in space through the air. But when they need to calm things down, they're going to run the ball. And Singletary starts the next drive with a 5-yard rush. And you're like, okay, here we go. And then the very next play, Austin Deculus plays Olay again, and Stroud's got to get rid of the ball and throws it high to Devin Singletary. And then the following play, the offensive line just lets everybody fly at C.J. Stroud again, and they get the roughing the passer call, which was a pretty bad call. Probably should have ended the drive there. And I would have been interested to see if D'Amico Ryans and Bobby Slowick would have sent C.J. Stroud out for one additional play or one additional series if that indeed had been the end of the day. But they get the fresh set of downs. They run the ball, timing route to Sims, and then with 4 yards to go, again, the offensive line doesn't hold up. Stroud scrambles a little bit, and then you find yourself with a situation where you punt and C.J. Stroud's day is over. So plenty to learn from, plenty to get to if you're C.J. Stroud, you're Bobby Slowick, you're D'Amico Ryans going through this offense. You got to see that safety if you're C.J. Stroud. And I know that there's the old adage, you can't go broke taking a profit. Well, if you don't make enough money, you can go broke. So I never loved that line of thinking or that explainer of checkdowns. But in that situation, it's okay to check it down. Again, if he does that week 1 against Baltimore, we're pissed. We're losing our minds about that. But doing it in the first preseason game against the New England Patriots, that doesn't matter. Do y'all remember the first interception Deshaun Watson threw? I don't. Anybody remember the first interception that Trevor Lawrence threw or Joe Burrow threw or any of these guys? No. Like, if CJ's doing this in practice, which he's not, and if he's doing this in the next preseason game, and he's doing this in week 1 against Baltimore, and week 2 against the Indianapolis Colts, and week 3 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, let's freak out then. I'm not worried about one throw where he didn't trust himself and he didn't let it rip like he probably should have. And I'm not worried about a couple of plays where the backup offensive line let this thing fall apart. Now, I will say the depth on this offensive line is non-existent. They got their 5 starters, left to right, Laramie Tunsil, Kenyon Green, Juice Scruggs, Shaq Mason, and then George Fant until Titus Howard gets back. There's no depth behind those guys. So an injury might see us experiencing a lot more of what we experienced tonight from a watching the offensive line perspective. But if the 4 guys who are going to start and then Fant stays healthy, plays right tackle until Howard's back in week 1, week 2, week 3, the offensive line should be much better. You give C.J. Stroud time. And then what I've been seeing at practice, what any of you who you've been out to training camp have seen, when C.J. Stroud is in rhythm, he is nasty. He's putting the ball wherever he wants. He's beating defenders. He's dropping it over defenders. He's looking good. Not worried, not freaking out. Now, he makes this throw, Wednesday against the Miami Dolphins in joint practice, and then Thursday against the Miami Dolphins in joint practice, and then Saturday against the Miami Dolphins in the preseason game. All right, we can start having a conversation about what's going on here. But I'm not worried one bit. Are you worried? Let's get to some of your comments here. A lot of people in the comments section, a lot of people watching. Appreciate everybody popping in here. I'll go to the Gran Turismo, who got going before the stream even got going. Why don't we play CJ Moore? He needs reps. You got 2 joint practices and a preseason game against the Dolphins, and then 2 joint practices against the Saints. So 5 opportunities for a lot of reps for Stroud. I understand why they sort of dialed things back. Plus, the offensive line didn't look good. The rain. D'Amico Ryans said he played exactly the amount of snaps they thought he was going to play in postgame. I don't know that I totally believe that. There could have been some sort of adjustment there. But ultimately, yes, I would have liked to have seen him more. The 2 joint practices in the upcoming week and the Dolphins game, you'll see a lot more C.J. Stroud. Appreciate everybody checking in wherever you are checking in from. Some of the usuals I see in here a lot, like Blue Boy, J-Rock, Lumineer, Sean G's in a lot. Good to see you. Chris checking in from Brenham. We'll get to Tank Dell here in just a moment. And Davis Mills did look good. And the offensive line played a little bit better because the Patriots took out the defenders they had in there. So, yeah, it was the Mills situation did look better. The offensive line was playing better. CJ interception was a dumb throw for show. I ain't tripping about Stroud. And third and forever, none of your key O-linemen. Honestly, good play by the O-line guy, too. Yeah, Deculus ended up making the tackle on the interception. Right after we give Deculus credit, somebody going to fire up. I hope I never see Deculus again. Yeah, it's rough, man. Here's the thing. That's supposed to be Charlie Heck. Charlie Heck's hurt. He's got an injury right now. He's on the PUP list. That's supposed to be Charlie Heck. And Charlie Heck would not have looked like Austin Deculus tonight. So I'm not super worried about the situation here. When it comes to CJ, I am super worried about the depth of the offensive line. And this is something we've been talking about for weeks here on the channel and on Houston football. The depth that this offensive line doesn't have, hopefully is not an issue, but it's preposterous to think that you're going to get 16 games out of the 5 starters on the offensive line. So I'm not super worried about CJ. I'm a little bit worried about that offensive line. Couple more comments here, and then we got to talk about the thriller that is Tank Dell. He's going to learn from it as time goes on, and he's got it. I can tell the way he's in the huddle being a leader, the way his guys looking at him, and they trust him already to learn from it. Yeah, again, what we saw in the preseason opener is not what we have been seeing at practice from C.J. Stroud. He's looked much more in control. He has not thrown interceptions quite like that. The interceptions he has thrown usually have some sort of messy pocket around him or something like that. A couple of days ago, he threw into Denzel Perryman because everybody was kind of in his kitchen and didn't see Perryman. He tried to get it over the offensive line. But he's not played poorly in practice. If he'd been playing poorly in practice and then had gone out there and did what he did tonight, like you'd be like, okay, something to monitor, but not worried about it. Not worried about it. I'm actually going to go as far as to say just one bad play, and then he probably did what he was supposed to do on most of the other plays. I went back and quickly rewatched a lot of those snaps, and, the offensive line just was not good enough. Was just not good enough. And to Giovanni's point, yeah, he's got to get the ball out quick. He tried to on 2 plays on the second drive. He tried to get it out to Singletary quick, and he tried to get it out of the Daria Gumbawale quick, and the defenders were in his kitchen almost immediately. It's tough to see how this is CJ's fault outside of the interception. Did Green look bad still? I thought on one play, he had his guy blocked, and if he kind of locked him up a little bit more, that guy wouldn't have affected the play, but he didn't quite have him locked up all the way, and that guy was kind of in on the play. So, again, the offensive line's got to play better, and I'm not worried. Don't give up. If this was a virtual athlete stock market, I'd be going and buying C.J. Stroud stock. Okay? Davis Mills is not going to start for this team. Davis Mills is not a guy that is going to beat out C.J. Stroud and start over C.J. Stroud. Okay? That's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. Don't even think about it. I don't care what reps distribution there is going forward. Mills ain't starting. It's Stroud, and he's got an opportunity here to learn from this. Here's one thing we haven't talked about a ton when it comes to this start from C.J. Stroud, and I haven't seen many people mention it. It's 1st and 10. Stroud gets sacked because Deculus just lets the guy fly through. 2nd and 25. And George Fant just lets the guy fly through. But Stroud maneuvers out and gets himself a couple of free yards with his legs. Now, on 2nd and 25 to turn it into 3rd and 21, that's not the most impressive play. But if all of a sudden it's 2nd and 10 and it's 3rd and 6, or it's 2nd and 6 and then it's 3rd and 2, that was a nice little read and reaction from C.J. Stroud on the rush that he had for 4 yards. I'm not going to freak out about a 4-yard rush, but that was something that was nice to see as well. So, C.J. Stroud, lackluster start here in the preseason game. Everybody got brought back up to a new level, though, when Tank Dell started putting on a show. Woohoo! Man, I wrote about this on Houston Football, www.houfootball.com. And D'Amico Ryan said this on Tuesday's practice. And he said, some guys play better when the lights are on. And I'm paraphrasing, but that was the gist of it. Some guys are game day players. Some guys don't perform as good on practice, or they take what they've done in practice and they bump it up to the next level on game day. And I wrote about this in my 4 players to watch. Tank Dell was the number 1. And I said, when D'Amico Ryan says a guy takes it to the next level on game day, that feels like something that could very much be about Tank Dell. And then Tank Dell went out and did what he did in this game against the New England Patriots here in the preseason opener. And he had a fantastic day. It looks awesome statistically. 5 for 65. He should have had 6 for 80 and the touchdown. He had a 15-yard reception wiped away from a penalty. Okay? He had a 15-yard reception wiped away because there was a holding penalty on the offensive line. So he had an even bigger day than it showcased. And that one drive, he sort of just took over. He just took over on that one drive that ended with him getting into the end zone. It was there in the second quarter. And on that drive, it starts with Tank Dell on that big run down the middle. You get it over the middle. They're playing off of him. Davis Mills hits him. Boom, he takes off 24 yards. Okay? And then after they get the first down and they run the ball, they go to Dell again, and he gets him into the red zone. And then the very next play is to Tank Dell again, and he gets him into a first and goal situation. So what does Davis Mills do? Well, there's Tank Dell. I'm throwing in the damn football, and it's a great throw. They work on this a lot at training camp. They throw this ball to the front of the end zone quite a bit. And they do it with Nico a lot sometimes, but it's one of those things where I have seen this more and more in the past couple of years where teams work that front corner of the end zone. Well, that's what it was. Tank Dell's a couple feet in the end zone, turns, ball hits him right. Like the ball hit him right. He should have caught it the first time. And then there's contact. He's on the ground. The ball's bouncing in the air, and he comes down with it. And when I first saw it, I thought he was out of bounds. His leg was out of bounds when he caught it. And then you see the replay, and the replay shows, well, his butt's down. He's got possession. Then his leg comes down. Touchdown. I mean, what a play. To make up for your own mistake within the very same play. So great job by Tank Dell. Great job. Really impressive stuff. And again, feels like a guy that is going to be a bigger player on game day than he is in practice, or takes what he does in practice, because he's been good. You know, it's not every day he stands out, but he stands out. And he takes what he does in practice, and then he jumps it up on game day. And as they build more and more on this offense, as they put more and more together when it comes to schemes and routes and moving guys around, because almost all these wide receivers can play inside and outside, when they get all of that going, it's going to be very hard to defend Tank Dell, because this is just basically let a guy go out there and beat his man and beat the basic coverage with some basic routes. Imagine what it's going to look like when Tank Dell's in motion and guys got to follow him. Or imagine what it looks like when they're running stuff to get Tank Dell open. Like, the potential for this is going to be incredible. And I didn't know if Dell was going to assert himself right away into this wide receiver pecking order. But after the performance we saw in the preseason, building on what he's done in training camp, you got the Dolphins in town, and the Dolphins for 2 joint practices in the game. There's a really good chance Tank Dell becomes a go-to piece of this offense from day one of the regular season. And if that's the case, then my goodness, what a steal to grab that player and to put that to grab that player in the third round and for him to be able to put it together that quick and to not worry about the size concerns. And look, I'm famous for when I was on the radio show, and I've talked about this a ton in from football lingo, big people beat up little people. Well, if you never catch the little people, you don't beat them up. And that's where I think Tank Dell comes in is going to be really fun this season. Really fun. Giovanni, Tank Dell's going to be elite. I wonder if that'll be in the first team before the season starts. I don't know if there's going to be like a first team, second team from these wide receivers. I think it's just going to be who's playing well. What do we do to scheme this guy open, put it into a situation where he can beat his man or we can get him open. But the NFL is primarily defended in zone. Okay? 70% of defense ends up in zone. Even if they start in man, it's a zone defense most of the time. Tank Dell is a zone killer. His quickness, his precision. Robert Woods talked about it. This wide receiver group is going to pride themselves on running precise routes. Tank Dell is a zone killer. And he's going to line up everywhere. Tank was everywhere, like Talon here says. He's going to line up everywhere. They're going to put him inside. They're going to put him outside. They're going to put him in motion. It's going to be tough to figure out how to defend Tank Dell. Brandon, Tank's ability to create space in tight space is next level. Well, here's another thing. Once he creates space, not many people are catching him. Okay? Like his ability to keep separation and still do his job is something that is really nice about Tank Dell. Oh, yeah. Sean brings up a good point. Mills threw two at Tank's feet that he could have got more on. Yeah, the first one, and then I got caught in the phrasing on Twitter. Tank Dell's telling Davis Mills to get it up. You know, I didn't mean to say it that way. I did say it that way. I didn't mean to say it that way. But, yeah, and then, you know, you saw Tank Dell pointing to Mills, you know, hey, get the pass up a little bit. Mills talked about it postgame. I get it to him. He's going to make plays. JJ, Tank Dell had a better day in one preseason game than all the wide receivers had last year. I mean, the wide receiver group was not great outside of Brandon Cooks last year. Not great. It's one thing to have a guy have a good preseason game and then try to figure out where he is on the roster. Like, is he making the team? Like, can he elevate to this level? But when you know Dell's going to be involved and have him put this performance together, that's when you can get really excited. We get Rick for phrasing. He's a ball hound. You know, he's going to get open and they're going to find him. They're going to get the ball to him. Blue Boy, I became a believer today. That's a good one. Talon says this. Somebody else said it earlier in the comments. I didn't throw it up there. I apologize. He does not play like he's 5'8". It was funny. Indy Kalu on the TV broadcast, and Indy does a great job. Wow. Indy was really, really good on the TV broadcast. Indy Kalu, they threw up a graphic, and it said Tank Dell 5'10", and he was like, yeah, you know, 5'10", 5'8". It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, he's not 5'10", okay? Maybe in cleats he's 5'9", but he's not 5'10". He plays bigger. And you know what? Again, if nobody ever catches him, if nobody ever gets a hand on him when he's starting his route, you don't have to worry about guys defending him. Did Mechie play? I was at work. Yeah, Mechie played. Had himself a first down catch and moved the chains. And that's kind of going to be, it feels like maybe, you know, Mechie's deal is, hey, when he's out there, he's not the top option, but he gets open. He's smooth with the way that he approaches things, and he moves the chains. Mechie's moved the chains a bunch in practice, and you saw it, 5-yard reception. That was his only target, his only reception of the day. They moved the chains. Oh yeah, the fade. I don't know if that was Tank or I don't know if that was Mills. I got to watch that again. It might be a combination of both of them. But if he hits that over the top drops it in the bucket. That would have been a nice play for Tank Dell as well. So, Tank's going to be an interesting fantasy player because I don't know that I'm going to start him right away. And there might be a week or two where you're like, damn it, why did I put him on the bench? But for best ball, regular fantasy, you set your lineup every week. Best ball, you draft your team and it automatically plays your best players every week. Where Tank Dell's going now in best ball for the next day or so, you probably could steal him and have a really nice player. And I'm sitting here watching this game, and all I can think is, my God, I've done like probably 50 best ball drafts to this point. I don't think I have very many Tank Dell shares, and I regret it immediately. Dell is a fantasy darling. The fantasy football people love Tank Dell. Love Tank Dell. I will say this too, guys. If we're talking about Tank Dell wide receivers, if you got another comment, another question, I'll star it. We'll get back to it in the Q&A portion of the conversation. Like Hogan right there's got a good question about Beck. I'll start. We'll get to it in the rest of the conversation when we get to the Q&A point. Or if you have something you really want to get answered right away, the Super Chat's always an option. We'll get to the Super Chats first and as quick as we can. Did Brown or Woods even play tonight? No. He did not. He did not. We got a Davis Mills defender. I mean, Mills played really nice. He played really nice. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and crap on Davis Mills' day. He had a really good day. That's why it's wild that anybody's talking about trading Davis Mills. That's a good backup quarterback. That's a top 10 backup quarterback in Davis Mills. Top 10. So, trading him, getting rid of him, that's not something you need to do. That's not something you need to do. All right, so Tank Dell, he put on a show, man. Woo. He had 5 for 65 in the touch. Probably could have had 7 or 8 for close to 100. That's a fun day. That's a fun day for a little preseason start. It's a real fun day. All right, let's talk a little bit about this defense. Boy, the defense's floor feels like it's a lot higher than it has been the past couple of years. And I know it's one preseason game, but it's the first time we've seen them have to go and tackle people to the ground. Because in practice, they just thud. Okay? In practice, they just pop each other or tag each other or push each other out of bounds. They don't take you to the ground in practice, even when they got the pads on. But through one preseason game, they are tackling much better as a team overall than they were the past 2 seasons with Lovie Smith. So that, to me, raises the floor a little bit. And then they're a deeper team on defense than they were last year. I mean, they did a number on the Patriots backups. And I know it's the Patriots backups, but you play who's on the field. And it still feels good to go out there and kick some guy's tail when you are playing in your first preseason game, like Will Anderson or Henry To'o. Excuse me. Sorry about that. All right, 2 sneezes. No more. No more. It still feels good to go out there and play who you're playing. Now, Albert Breer on social media, he noted that it was probably 5 backup offensive linemen playing for the Patriots. Okay, well, it's not Will Anderson's fault that it's 5 backups. He's got to beat who's on the field. Okay, so the defense kicked butt on whatever the Patriots were running out there. They didn't even play Mac Jones. They didn't play hardly any of their offensive starters. It's backups. Okay, well, they still took care of business. All right, and that's what we had to go off of. It's practice against each other and a game against the Patriots backups and second and third and fourth stringers. That's what we're going to go off of. The defense's floor is much higher. They're tackling better. They seem to recognize plays better. And there's just more talent, not only from a depth perspective, but from a starting perspective. I mean, you heard Indy Kalu gushing about it. We all saw it. Will Anderson flies in there on the backside, pushes Bailey Zappi forward, and then boom, Denzel Perryman's there for the sack. Like, that's a great play that hasn't shown up the past couple of years. Like, you haven't had a guy that does that on a consistent basis the past couple of years. And then a couple plays later, when they're back on defense, Jonathan Grenard's in there. He tackles a guy with one damn arm. He reaches out there and just rips the guy down, So the defense, the talent, the depth that they have is much better than the past couple of years. And I'm very excited to watch this defense put pressure on quarterbacks, force them into situations where they don't handle pressure well, and then take advantage of it. Talent has a super chat. I appreciate the super chats. If you do super chat, we'll stop what we're doing, talk about the topic, your question that you have in there. Stroud had 2 good checkdowns with pressure. His receivers just didn't catch them. Also, Stoots, you are the GOAT. I'm not the greatest of all time, but I would love to be the greatest of all time one day. So I'm going to work towards that. I appreciate the support. And yeah, he made a good decision to Singletary. The defense was there and it was a little high. And he made the good decision to check down to Agumbawale. But again, the offensive line didn't block well, and the defense was, breathing down his neck. But Stroud's not going to be afraid to check the ball down. He's not going to be afraid to check the ball down, and it's going to be a productive situation when he does. So we talked about the defensive line. Malik Collins, he was in on a couple of, rush situations or pass situations there. Grenard had a nice play. Will Anderson played well. Jerry Hughes didn't play tonight, but Hughes has looked good in practice. And Hughes is an important guy for Will Anderson. Anderson was on a podcast with Chris Long. He talked about how important Jerry Hughes has been to him already. So Jerry Hughes is important to Will Anderson's development. And then backup defensive tackles, Roy Lopez and Kurt Heinisch, they played really well. So again, that's what I'm talking about. Like, there's depth on this team. Like, if a guy's not having a good day and you want to go to a backup, you feel pretty good about him. There hadn't been enough depth on this team the past couple of years, and it's shown and it's suffered from a defensive perspective. Yeah, I like what Heinisch and Lopez did too. Yeah, the big Heine went out there and made some plays. Roy Lopez I thought Roy Lopez was going to catch Bailey Zappi and eat him. He was close, man. He was close. But there was one player that I was really excited to see play, because who cares in practice when you get a credit for a tackle for getting to a spot. When you have to go make a play, what are you going to look like? Ayad talks about him here. Henry To'o. But how about To'o? Sticking his nose in there on run defense, going out there, being around the ball, and then on 3rd and 2, To'o reads the play perfectly, is there, boom, 1-yard gain, Patriots punt on 4th and 1. Like, that is a underrated play that in like the grand scheme of things, maybe doesn't matter a ton, but if you're forcing someone to come up short on 3rd and 2, A, that's a demoralizing aspect for the opposing offense. B, that showcases how smart and how impressive To'o is from a play recognition standpoint. And that's going to be the biggest thing for him, because he's not the ideal size, and he does not have ideal speed, and his athleticism is average, probably at best. And I was wondering, he recognizes plays and he's very smart, and the coaches talked about it. That was the scouting report about him. What's going to happen when he gets to a spot with somebody? Is he going to make the play? And he did tonight. It's one play, but he's got to tackle people. He's got to be able to tackle people and sustain people. Now, is he going to be able to do that if that was a dump off to, say, Derrick Henry? Well, no, hell no. He's not going to be able to do that. But to most running backs, to wide receivers on screens, to some tight ends, some fullbacks, To'o is going to be able to make those plays. Okay? He's going to be able to make those plays. I was really happy to see what he brought to the table. And then just a couple of different shout outs for some different players across the landscape of this defense. We talked about some of the guys who are on the roster or really close to being on the roster. There's a multitude of guys that, are fighting for jobs, and some of them went out there and made a play. Khalil Davis went out there, and he had it looked like a tackle for a loss. Chase Winovich was in there and had himself a nice play, a tackle for a loss, or for a sack, excuse me. So he was pumped up. That's a guy, of course, that was drafted by the Patriots. He's fighting for a roster spot. Byron Cowart had a tackle for a loss. He's fighting for a roster spot. So I can kind of see where this defense is coming together from the defensive line perspective. Your top three ends are Anderson, Hughes, and Grenard. Your top three defensive tackles are Collins, Rankins, and Ridgeway. And then you're sort of filling everything else out from there. Dylan Horton's got to get healthy so we can see him play in some practices and some preseason games. He's dealing with an injury right now, so he's got to get healthy. But figuring out who the rest of the defensive ends are, figuring out if you're going to keep 4 defensive tackles, that means Roy Lopez is on the team and Kurt Hinish is off the team. If you're going to keep 5 defensive tackles, that means that Kurt Hinish is on the team and then maybe somebody else can get his practice squad spot. Figuring that out is going to be tough. And they haven't had tough cuts the past couple of years. It's been we kind of know who the 53 guys are, and then maybe a surprise here or there. They have not had difficult cuts the past couple of years, and you've had a couple of players play well and play well enough that it's ooh, really want this guy on the practice squad, or ooh, with a couple of weeks left here in training camp in the preseason, can he push somebody? Can he make it tough for somebody? Can he make the coaches take an extra look at him? Because really, what these games do as the coaches go through and look at these is basically it just gives these players another opportunity for the coach to pay attention to them. It just gets them another look. So a Byron Cowart, a Chase Winovich, it gets them another look. So maybe coach spends an extra minute or two watching them in practice. You go through the play. Hey, what did Winnow do on this thing? I don't know if they call him Winnow. This seems like something you would call him. I'm not calling him Winovich every time. I tell you what, if I was his teammate, I'd call him Michael P.S. Winovich because he looks just like Michael P.S. Hayes of the Fabulous Freebirds. He got that bleach blonde hair and that stubble. It's Michael P.S. Winovich on there. So defense looks like it's in a much more solid situation and a much more solid floor for this defense. All right. Those are the things I want to get to. I might be having us a little special guest here. Ooh. All right. I'm sending out an email for our special guest. Let's see if I can get him in here. All right. So let's get to your questions here. All right. Do the banners, get the right ticker up there. Questions. We'll get to questions here in just a second. And we'll wait for our special guest. So I'll answer a couple of questions here. And if you really want your question answered, then throw a super chat that way. I'll try to get to as many questions as I can. We'll hang out and BS for a little while. Couple of just thoughts here. Yeah, look, it's been tough typing To'o a bunch when I've been doing the writing. T-O''O, capital T-O''O. And then if you got to put an apostrophe on the end of that, it's like To'o's tackle. Then it's T-O''O, capital T-O''S, which is, whew. Yeah, that's kind of what you want out of players is you want them to basically do what they did in college at the NFL level. That's what you've seen from Will Anderson. That's what you've seen from To'o. Like, you want those guys to do what they did at college at the NFL level. Because most of the time, those guys are pretty damn good at college, you know? Yeah, Christian Kirksey's been banged up. He's been hurt. And I don't know how Christian Kirksey makes this roster. And as Keith puts out here, hey, you get $5 million on the salary cap back if you take care of Christian Kirksey. Horton did not play. He's hurt. Again, this guy's, got to get healthy. It's not something. Somebody brings up a good question here. Possible Horton red shirts his rookie year? Probably not. It's not something that's going to keep him out for some long term, All right. Special guest time. The first guest in the Houston football Cody Solo YouTube era calls himself the number one source. He is the number one source for Texans YouTube content. And he's one of my best friends in the entire world. It's Mr. Landry Locker. What's up, big dog?
How you living, dude? How you living? Man,
I'm living
little
good.
Technical stuff. Got 2 videos out. Not too pleased with my lack of patience, but got my videos out. Doing good.
Hey, it's preseason for you too.
No, it's not. It's not though. I've been doing this every day for like 11 months. It's not. But yeah, it's all good. It's all taken care of.
If you haven't ever seen Landry, he does a fantastic job on YouTube. Check out his channel. Subscribe to him. Thumbs up the videos. All that great stuff. How much do you want to see Austin Deculus play going forward, Landry?
I said that CJ Stroud would be better off. I know he's from California, and I know there's like blood and Crip territories. Like, if you're going to allow him to play behind Austin Deculus anymore, you either need to drop him off in a blood neighborhood with all blue on, or you need to drop him off in a Crip neighborhood with all red on. Like, that's pretty much the equivalent of putting your hopeful franchise quarterback behind Austin Deculus at this point. They seem to have liked this guy a little bit, and I know I'm sure like on the practice squad he'll be fine, but I don't need to see Austin Deculus blocking for CJ Stroud anymore. Honestly, I was happy to see him get hit though. I was actually pretty pleased seeing CJ get hit and seeing him have to use his legs. I'm not saying there's not like a certain element of, feeling a little bit stressed out about it. And I don't want that to be the case all the time, but I thought it was good to see him get hit a little bit.
He said as much in the post game. He was like, yeah, it's good to go out there and, get hit a couple times and you kind of feel that and stuff like that. So that's an underrated part of, that's really for all of them too. Cause you just thump in practice. You don't get taken to the ground. You don't tackle guys to the ground. That was one of my things with To'o we were just talking about before you got in here. It's like, yeah, To'o beats people to the spot, and then he, two-hand touches them in practice. Is he going to go make tackles? Is he going to go make plays? He did today on the 3rd and 2, stuffed them for a 1-yard gain. Next thing you know, Belichick's running the punt unit out there.
Yeah, and I think that, I don't think Christian Kirksey is going to make the team. It's going to be borderline impossible. Honestly, I think if he'd never gotten hurt, like if they would have seen this from the guys that they've been seeing it from, then it would have been an uphill battle anyways. But I just find it very hard to imagine that, because the cap money can roll over. $5 million, $4.5 million, whatever you say with Kirksey. I find it hard to be able to justify that. And even if they weren't playing that good, I just feel like you can find a Christian Kirksey on the waiver wire or something like that. So I think it's going to be hard for him to make the team. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they handle the D linemen. Because both Heinisch and Lopez made plays. Heinisch just seems to like preseason games. I think the running backs are set at this point, 1 to 3. I don't know what they're going to do with the 4th. I think Boone's the guy.
He's showcased more from that 3rd running back spot than anybody else has to this point.
Yeah. So I think that's set. I think the receivers are pretty much set, although I feel bad for these kids kind of because I think there's a chance that a couple of them like Sims and Bachman would have maybe made the team last year or the year before at this point. Like they're not they, they have the most questionable, one of the more questionable wide receiver rooms in the league, at least on paper, but it's pretty set. Like it seems like the ceiling is a little bit higher, like from 1 to 6 than you would, or the floor, I should say, is a little bit higher than you would expect.
The thing that they're going to do with this wide receiver room, and it's been kind of apparent with practice, and I don't know that you'll see it immediately in the regular season, but everybody can line up everywhere. Like even if you had to kind of give it a weird look, Nico could be in the slot, but like every one of these guys, 1 through 6, has the ability to play pretty much all the positions. And I think Robert Woods has talked about that. Noah Brown this week was like, when we can do that, it makes it hard for you to guess what we're doing on a play-to-play basis. And you think about these defensive coordinators, they see guys running onto the field. If a guy can only do a certain thing, they're yelling down to, or the spotters or the defensive coaches see guys coming on the field. They're like, oh, okay, well, we know that guy's coming on to play slot. Well, if Tank Dell runs on the field now, you don't know if he's coming on to play slot. You don't know if he's going outside. You don't know if the same thing with Noah Brown. Like the switching and the moving around and the mixing and matching is going to be fun to watch from this wide receiver room.
Yeah, and I don't know how good Tank is, but there's signs that he might really have something. And I thought the best comp that I got today in the locker room post-game show, like, people are throwing out like Tyreek Hill and Deshaun Jackson and all that type of stuff. I'm like, no, I don't know about that. I think Tyler Lockett's a good comparison. If we're talking about, someone to compare him to, he's a crisp route runner. He's pretty smooth. He's got pretty good speed. It seems like he plays a little bit faster than he runs. I think Tyler Lockett's a good comparison. I think Tyler Lockett's a solid, number 2 receiver. I think most teams would like to have a Tyler Lockett. So I don't know when you're drafting him in fantasy, but I can already see your ass probably like reaching for him in the 6th or something like that. It's so obvious. You just telegraph it.
Landry and I have been in a fantasy football league together for 12 years now?
Yeah, 12, 13.
12, 13 years. And the fantasy smack talk is, at an all-time high, especially this time of year.
Yeah. See, I didn't hear a denial in there though. Way to
I don't know how to draft Tank Dell in like regular fantasy. I don't know because I think there's going to be some weeks where he's a 1 catch for 7 yards guy, and then I think there's going to be some weeks where he just blows up the defense.
I don't think there's 1 catch 7 yards. I don't think he's it just seems like he's their best wide receiver right now, and
he's gonna force his way on the field.
It's kind of been a steady thing. I was extremely impressed by the way that he basically told Mills get the damn ball up
right?
After that one where he had to go down and get it, where a 3rd round pick, 1st-year player has the coconuts, the testicular fortitude to basically tell the 3-year vet, hey, get that crap up, man. Get the ball up. I thought that was good. He's just got a little bit of dog in him. I like Tank Dell. I'm very intrigued by what he's going to look like and how good he can be. I think he looks kind of like a 55, 60 catch guy right now. And I'm channeling it a little bit. I think he looks like a 55, 60 catch dude.
I'm really intrigued to see, and we may not see it with the exception of maybe a couple of joint practices. I'm really intrigued to see what this entire first team offense looks like together, because Singletary is incredible to watch a backup running back not be absolute dog crap out on the field. He basically extended the first drive because he was able to be shifty. Every backup running back this team has had since Arian Foster was the starter would have gotten tackled for a loss, and Devin Singletary jump cut, boom, it's a first down. and the drive kept going. Now CJ finishes it with the interception, so that wasn't fun. But like, but Pierce out there, the starting offensive line with George Fant at right tackle, not at left tackle, and these wide receivers, and then Schultz and the mixing and matching. I'm excited to see what this first team is going to be capable of doing.
I think Singletary would be the best running back they've had since probably 2019.
Which was Carlos Hyde, right?
Yeah, and I think he's better than Carlos Hyde. So I think maybe 2018, I think in like a half decade, he's the best running back they've had, and he's your backup right now. And I mean, that says as much about how bad the position's been and how much you've kind of neglected it. But it's nice, it's nice to see someone miss a tackle because, yeah, like you would always hear, well, who can run behind this offensive line? And it's like, okay, I get it. Like they're not blocking great, but let's be serious. Like you're allowed to make someone miss and gain a yard. And that's what he did. It was really, really good to see.
All right. So this is, I mentioned this earlier and I want to get to this comment that Hogan here had. Andrew Beck, he's clearly going to be on the field a lot. What do we make of how much he's going to be on the field? He's been that kind of safety valve on a couple of different plays that we've seen. I know you talked in your live stream earlier about you probably shouldn't have dropped that one. What do we think of Beck and how much we're going to see him on the field?
Well, I mean, I think we're going to see him a lot. That's something that can't happen though. And that's like that type of play is a play that he's going to be asked to make. And it's a type of play that it can cost you a game. Like, and if you fail to catch a 3rd and 1 wide open like that, like either you go for it on 4th and you miss, or you end up punting or something like that. That's what he's supposed to be good at. That's what he's supposed to do. Quite frankly, I think that's the first drop I've seen him have like since he's been a Texan. But yeah, you can't have that happen. And then he's on kickoff teams. So you already know he's playing special teams. Hurt his foot. Seemed like he was okay. He's walking around. That's easy for me to say. It'll be interesting to see if he's back on the field or if he's resting or anything, but it didn't seem to be too serious. But if he's going to do that, like, if that's going to be a habit, then it's going to be hard for him to get on the field. But I think we see Andrew Beck quite a lot.
I want to be very careful about how I say this. Juszczyk is the best fullback in football. And they spent a ton of money on him in San Francisco. There's clearly a need to have someone to play that position. To me, Bobby Slowick and the way he builds this thing has got to be very careful because Beck's not Juszczyk and he's not ever going to be Juszczyk. So, like, use him appropriately within what he's actually capable of doing, which is a little blocking, and then every now and then he's that emergency guy that, CJ just gets it out to. Like, there can't be – I don't want to see a lot of, plays that where Andrew Beck's one of the first 2-3 options,
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think they're going to, I mean, that was a very simple, that was a very simple toss right there.
It's funny that Beck missed that because that play happened. I think it was at the beginning of this week's practice. It was a practice a couple of days ago where it was like, literally it was that play and Stroud didn't see him fast enough. And he tried to get it out to him, and then there was just too much traffic, and he threw it. It was about 5 yards in front of him, and he skipped it to him. And Stroud came to the sideline, and Beck went over there and talked to him. And the quarterback coach, Stroud Johnson, went over and talked to him. And then Bobby Slowick came over and said something to Stroud. And you could kind of see, like, Stroud's like, okay, guys, I get it. And then Case Keenum came over and talked to him, and it's like, you got to be able to hit that. So Stroud hits the play, and then Beck doesn't make the play, in the game a couple of days later. And it's like, all right, well, at least you made the right decision. You made the quick read. You got it out to him. You got to just trust that Beck's going to make the play next time.
Yeah, and I mean, he is the 6th highest paid fullback in football.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, he's the 6th highest paid fullback. He makes $3.1 million. Ingold in Miami makes $3.25. Balorin Seattle makes 3.3, and then Ricard in Baltimore makes 3.75, and then you have CJ Ham in Minnesota, $4 million, and then Juszczyk makes 5. So, yeah, I know he's not Juszczyk, but if you follow the money, they did kind of value him. So he is, and some teams don't even carry fullbacks. So we'll see. But yeah, I thought that was a big play that when you factor in what the role is going to be, like you can say CJ is not going to play behind that offensive line. And you can, justify some things in the preseason, but he's got to make that play. Has to.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's, I don't know exactly what this tight end room is going to look like, but he's a guy who can play a little tight end for him as well. So
yeah, he's probably the third best tight end
with Schultz obviously won if he can get out on the damn field.
I think he's ready to go. I just think that they didn't want to get him ready for a game. They didn't want to activate him for the game week. I would be shocked if he wasn't out there next week. Shocked.
I mean, it'd be there's a couple of, tight end 2 on this team is it's not a starter, but it's a guy that's going to play quite a bit. But, I'll call him a depth piece. Like there's 2 guys that should be depth pieces that I really want to see what they've got that have been banged up. And Quintariano hasn't practiced at all. Dylan Horton practiced like a couple of days, and then he's been down for a while. So it's like those are 2 depth pieces that I really want to get a better understanding of what they're capable of doing. Like, hey, you got to get on the field here.
Yeah, and Brevin Jordan, it'd probably be nice to see what he can do too.
I got a good hunch of what he can do.
Yeah, well, he needs to get on the field.
Yeah. Is Mason Schreck going to make this team?
I think so. I mean, if I had to pick the third tight end right now, I would say yes. And I think Beck's kind of your de facto third tight end. I think Schreck right now, like if they're going to keep it this way, I would think Schreck's the guy. They liked him on the practice squad. CJ found him in the back of the end zone in the scrimmage. Seems to be a little bit more complete than some of the others. I would think so. Like if it's going to stay this way. Now I don't know what they think of Brevin Jordan. I don't know. They might F around and just say we're going to keep. I don't know. I don't know what the Brevin Jordan thing is going to be. I
feel bad for Mason Schreck because I can see how this plays out. He makes the team. He's on the initial 53. And someone they like gets cut, and then his spot's gone because they're bringing in a free agent from the big cut down. And that one big cut down, I gotta imagine that's a long day for Caserio, the scouting department, the coaches, because let's see, there's 32 teams. They're all going from roughly 90 to 53. So it's 47 play. It's like 600 guys. And some of them you don't even think about. But there's got to be, 300, 400 guys that are worthy of a roster spot or practice squad spot that you then got to comb through really fast.
Yeah, especially like running back and tight end and stuff. That's where you can typically find guys.
Yep. CJ's interception. I think we talked about it a bunch to start this. It's just simply he's got to hit Dalton Schultz, right?
Yeah, just dump it down. Don't try to be a hero there, and also realize that safety's trying to get you to throw that. Like that's just kind of blatantly obvious, especially when it's 3rd and 21. Was it 3rd and 21? 3rd and 22?
Yeah, third and 21. Yeah.
Yeah, like come on, like he'll be fine. That's an easy one to look at.
He said post game, he's like, "Oh, I knew I shouldn't have done it. Next time I'm dumping it down to Dalton." And he's like, "We even knew that was something that they might try to do to give you that look so that you make that throw."
It was the wrong read. Like it just was the wrong read. Like that's really all there is to it. He knows that.
He did say, he said in his post game, he said, "I didn't trust my eyes." And you watch the play and he kind of double pumps. I think ultimately the play still turns out the same way, but I do wonder what would have happened if he just fires that sucker, trust his eyes on the very first thing. Maybe it's a pass breakup instead of interception, but he said, hey, I didn't trust my eyes and I need to really just dump it down. One small underrated thing from Stroud's day that I don't think we've talked about enough. I know it was 2nd and 25, because Austin Deculus can't block anybody. But he made a good decision pulling the ball and stealing 4 yards on a rush attempt.
Yeah, and that was one of his biggest knocks in college was, the feel. And it's, it's kind of hard when you're watching training camp because the quarterbacks can't get hit. So a lot of times, like you just say, well, that would have been a sack. But last week, like after the off day, CJ, it was clear that he's kind of moving around a little bit more. And you wondered, okay, is he feeling this at the right time to avoid the sack? And he did a couple of times. And that's good to see because that was the instincts, the running instincts were something that was one of the biggest knocks on him coming out. And he seemed to have made a concerted effort to be better at that.
All right. Let the folks know where they can find all the Landry Locker stuff from the YouTube to the Sports Radio 610 and everything in between.
Locker Room on YouTube, Locker Room. Subscribe, like, right along. Got the top 10 takeaways up right now. Got the shorter version of the post-game show. Do the post-game after everything. The Locker Room, come through. Sports Radio 610, Odyssey app. Check that out too. So we got a lot to get into. Such little time, sir.
I mean, you pump out the most content of anybody. I'm getting on a pretty regular basis here with the YouTube and Houston football.
Inconsistent, baby.
We have just started to scratch the surface of the 2023 season, but to get a preseason game under our belt, joint practices on the way. I mean, this is going to be just a fantastic season. We're going to have a lot of fun.
It's going to be fun, man. And I don't think they're going to suck.
That's
what I can say. I don't think they're going to suck. How good will they be? I don't know. I don't think they're going to suck though.
They will not suck. I had my mom's best friend asked me today. She's like, "All right, well, tell me, give it to me straight. How are they going to be?" I was like, "Well, they're not going to suck."
By the way, the bet on the Texans in the preseason with Case Keenum playing the third and fourth quarter might be something that needs to be wrote out.
Props to you. You did a very good job with
Although that weasel ass backup kicker tried to screw me. I thought for sure that because the spread was 3.5, I thought for sure that he was gonna miss that, and then the Patriots are gonna score a touchdown in the extra point.
It's funny how what's what I'm looking for? Spoiled Patriots fans were, and how they just like don't know football at all because they had Tom Brady for 20 years and they just didn't take the time to learn anything. I saw a ton of Patriots fans and even some people that like loosely cover the Patriots like, is Cunningham the guy? Should they be playing him? And I was like, he's been playing wide receiver in practice. He plays 1-2 good series in the preseason and they want him to be the quarterback of the future.
Yeah, but I feel like they might be saying that here too, though. He is pretty exciting, I will say.
He's going to be very exciting for 3 preseason games.
And then, here comes the XFL joke. Go ahead.
And then he'll be a really nice practice squad piece for them going forward.
Yeah, I'm just kind of amazed how irrelevant like the feel of the Patriots has gotten in like a short time. And I don't know, like I still like when I'm watching a Cowboys game, I feel okay. I can kind of like feel some of the nostalgia, even though it was 3 decades ago. I can feel it with the Steelers, even like post Big Ben. I feel like it's like big Yankees. I know the Yankees haven't, they've won 1 World Series or whatever, and however long. Red Sox. There's no nostalgia anymore with the Patriots, like at all. I don't know. Like the brand doesn't really live on. Like you don't feel like you're like watching something like big when you watch them anymore.
Yeah, you're certainly right about that. You're on that. Oh, last thing, because you're good at breaking this stuff down. How good was Indy Kalu tonight on the broadcast,
dude? So he was good, man. Like it's kind of funny because I think most people like realized how bad it was before, but when you just see how simple it was and how easy it was to listen to, and there wasn't like the occasional like every 3-minute just forced cliche and clearly like not as much work done, not really a good grasp of the team. Like it was a very enjoyable preseason game, and Indy did a hell of a job.
Kugler's fantastic. Like he's really good.
He does his homework, but yeah, Indy, like having someone who's honest with the fans and someone who's, not like overly trying to get on the payroll and has a good grasp of the squad, I think it was good, man. And I think this was a good decision that they made to have someone with kind of the connections and the grasp of stuff. I enjoyed it.
My two favorite Indy moments from the broadcast. They put up a graphic that said Tank Dell was 5'10". He's like, yeah, he's 5'8".
Yeah. He knows.
And then he's like, yeah, I don't know if there was a hold there. Like, I don't know what they're even talking about. And then he saw the replay and he was like, that's a hold.
Yeah, he's talking about on the when 30 got held and it was blatantly obvious, and he said the flag was late, so he didn't understand what it was for.
Yeah, and then they showed the replay and he's like, that's a hold.
Yeah, he did his thing.
All right. Lock Dog, appreciate you swinging by, man.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Great stuff from Landry Locker. Go check out his channel. I'm going to put it in the comments so that I don't so that you can go follow him. Bear with me as I do the technical stuff. All right, there's Landry's channel if you want to get in on that. You guys got questions? Like, I'm here. I fired down a Diet Mountain Dew. I don't have to go anywhere, man. I don't have to go anywhere. So if you guys got questions, we can certainly get to them. I know I said it was Q&A time, and then we brought Landry in. So if you guys got some final questions here, we can certainly fire them in here. And wrap up the live stream with that. An error occurred on YouTube. Wait a minute and try again. All right. Well, I tried to put the Landry's link in there and the stream link in there. It didn't pop up, but it's all right. That's all right. All right. If you guys got any questions, let's see if I missed anything here. Case the number 2 backup, too much experience. He can still sling it. I mean, Davis is the backup, but Case is going to beat up on some third string guys. He's definitely going to beat up on some third string guys. How exciting is Tank? I mean, he's the game ball, right? He's the story. He's the story of the night, right? Like, I mean, involved, excited, stoic at times when he needs to. There's a range of emotions on D'Amico Ryans, which is great to see because David Culley just looked confused and Lovie Smith looked like he wanted to be anywhere but coaching the Houston Texans. So I love watching D'Amico on the sidelines. 1 for 20. Xavier Hutchinson, the rookie wide receiver from Iowa State, he had 1 for 20. How much Stroud should we expect to see in week 2 of the preseason? I bet you he gets a quarter. You gotta remember, there's 2 joint practices this week with the Dolphins. And because they have those 2 joint practices, there's a lot of reps for first-team guys. So it might be a little lighter, but I do believe they want to see 7 run out the tunnel in front of the home crowd and everybody have some fun with that. So that'll be a good one. Thoughts on Toto? He's been really good in camp, and he showcased what he's done in camp and practice in the game. So it's been good. If CJ doesn't do good for half the season, they'll put Mills in to start like they did last year. No, once CJ starts, you can't go to somebody else. That'd be a disaster if that happened. You gonna watch any of the other AFC South preseason games? Yeah, I'm gonna try to check out as much preseason ball as I can. You know, NFL Plus, which is the service that the NFL has that lets you watch preseason stuff. They do a full game replay that's available like right after. They do a condensed replay, which takes out all the, stuff between plays. Just boom, play. A few days after that, they give you the all 22 version, which is what the coaches watch. That's really good. But you can also watch out of market preseason games live on NFL Plus. Okay. And there's like a premium version now where you get the NFL Network and Red Zone. So NFL Plus is good. And so I'm going to try to catch some of those probably in the condensed games. You know what I really want to watch, though? Jacksonville's got a backup running back that has been pretty good in practice from what I understand, Tank Bigsby. So I want to watch him. I want to watch Levis in Tennessee because you got to imagine he's going to play a bunch. There's Tannehill. He may not play at all. Willis is the number 2, and then Levis is the 3. And from Indianapolis standpoint, I got to see what Anthony Richardson's got. I mean, he's going to be a fun watch. So, and they got a tight end in Indianapolis that I liked in the draft process, and he ended up there. Jelani Woods. He could start for them at tight end. 3rd-round pick from last year's draft. And then they have a 5th-round pick at tight end this year, Will Mallory, who's a kid from Miami that I liked in the draft process too. So I'll check those guys out from a preseason standpoint. D'Amico looked excited to coach, shows a lot of passion. Yeah, he does, man. Yeah, he does. But Davis Mills is not starting for this team. It's CJ's team. Any undrafted free agents jump out to you? Undrafted guys. Not really. Hutchinson's a draft pick. I mean, the guy they snagged from the USFL, XFL, or whatever, the defensive tackle that made a nice stop tonight was, he was good. Byron Cowart, he's not an undrafted guy. He's been in the league for a few years. Killian Zier played a little tackle, but I can't tell you for sure that, he stood out or did this or did that. Oh, Ali Gay. Actually, yes. Ali Gay was in on a play, I think, with Winovich or with Cowart, one of the two. He's big. He's really big. 73. And he just looks intriguing. He hasn't made a ton of plays in practice or anything like that, but he was in on a play with Winovich, I think. Ali Gay from LSU. Yeah. There's your undrafted free agent. Yeah, I mean, you can't do too much with what CJ put together. It's small. It's easy for him to digest, take in, and then get to work on all the next on the stuff, on the rest of the stuff. Can Nico be the other wide receiver? I wasn't impressed with him in a short sample size. He's been good in practice. He made the nice play there to start the game. I'm less worried about Nico than I have been in recent years, but there's still the worry that he's a practice superstar and then just can't get it done on Sundays. I think that's always going to exist until he gets it done on Sundays. If CJ has a similar performance throughout the rest of the preseason, you start in Mills week 1 temporarily. Nope. Go out there, take your lumps, kid. You got any good nicknames for some of the players? I got Area 51 for Will Anderson and TD Squared. Ooh, TD Squared is good from Sean G. I like that. How did Perryman look to you tonight? Solid. I had the sack there. Will Anderson forced him up. Boom, he was there. It's hitting at number 1 on the top 10, though, Rob. I guess this is about, is this been Tank Dell? The NFL folks or the ESPN folks didn't take care of him? How well do you think Fant will do? He looked better in practice than he did in the game. He's going to play right tackle until Titus is back. So it's better than the days like Julian Davenport or Kendall Lamb going out there, but it's, I don't want to see him play more than a couple of games. If Heck can get healthy and he's the backup until Fant is, pushed down because Titus gets back, you might be okay. How much is NFL Plus? I think there's a couple of different there's a couple of different levels. Let's see if they sent an email, like a press release. Okay, so NFL Plus Premium. You get everything on NFL Plus, plus a live stream of NFL Red Zone. Full game replays across all your devices, ad-free. Condensed game replays across all devices, ad-free. And coaches film, ad-free. And with NFL Plus, you can get the live stream of NFL Network. So $14.99 a month or $100 a year. There you go. Hope that helps. I'm not getting anything from NFL Live. You go sign up. So this is not paid promotion. I don't want to get in trouble with the YouTube folks. I'm just giving the folks the info. I liked that after Stroud threw the interception, they come out running the football. It's, hey, calm down. Calm it down here. So excited to see that. Hey, Cody, you're not on the Wheelhouse anymore. That's correct. I'm not on the Wheelhouse anymore. I'm only here on YouTube, as well as my website, Houston Football, www.houfootball.com. Oh, yeah, Blue Boy's seen Jelani Woods tape. Yeah, he's seen Jelani Woods tape. He's a beast. He's a beast. I'm a little worried about him. Just a few reps for Kenyon. He stood a guy up, and then the play kind of kept that guy in. Like the play kind of kept that guy in the play. So, it wasn't amazing by any means. We'll play the win-win loss game. We'll probably play the win-win loss game right after training camp's over, right before the season. So week of Baltimore. Yeah, Mechie does the crane. They put like a little the Texans, when they tweet about Mechie, put a karate gi, which is kind of funny. I like that. I didn't like how much I saw of Dare at running back, Steven Sims at returner, wide receiver. Both were hard to watch for me. If they cut to 53 tomorrow, I don't believe Dare would be on there. I think it'd be Mike Boone. And your return guys are going to be Desmond King and Tank Dell, because Steven Simpson, I don't believe, is going to be on the roster. Let's see here. Couple more. He's walking around still. D'Amico Ryan said it'll be a while, so it wouldn't surprise me if he started on the PUP to start the season. Bill Belichick did not look happy. Belichick also looks like he's lost some weight too. So I thought that was interesting. And then Bill O'Brien always starts the season skinny and then is heavy by the end of the season. He does a really good job in the summer, losing weight, and then by the end of the season, he's put a lot of that weight back on. But yeah, Belichick looks like he's lost a ton of weight. He's got to get ready because he's got to look good when he's in the press conference for his new team next year. That's my bold prediction. Darren, why are you not on the Wheelhouse no more? Because I'm doing the YouTube show here, doing the lives, the recorded videos, and then I got the website, www.houfootball.com, Houston Football, doing all my writing there. And just, this is something I wanted to do and felt like the right time to do it, and I couldn't fit the radio in. Yeah, Michael noticed it. Yeah, I still talk to Jake and BK. Talked to BK the other day. He's busy with his YouTube endeavor, and I was texting Jake during the game. Billy B's like a bear who just got up from hibernation. He acts like a bear that just got up from hibernation, too. Think John Grenard could take advantage of the double teams on Will Anderson? Yeah. Oh, yeah. The other spot opposite Anderson needs to play well when Anderson gets attention on him. And then if they're going to leave Anderson alone, he's got to go and win. He's got to go be good. So that's why you draft a guy like Will Anderson. Makes everybody else's job. Makes everybody else's job a lot easier. So, Matthew, Ali Gay had a couple of plays that stood out to me. Do you think he makes the team? No, I don't believe he'll make the team, but I would absolutely put him on the practice squad. Absolutely put him on the practice squad. All right. Let's do some housekeeping here. I have not notified raffle winners yet, but I will notify raffle winners before the end of the weekend. Okay? There's that. Next question for y'all. I did 2 draft hats for this last raffle. What do you want raffled next? Do you want Fanatics gift cards? Do you want the sideline hats? Do you want, what do you want raffled next? Because, I want to raffle stuff you guys want, I thought Fanatics gift cards would be good because then you can get whatever the heck you want. You can get, you can put money towards a hat or a shirt or a jersey or whatever. So, gift cards is probably what I'm going to do if nobody gives me any sort of feedback. But, if you say, hey, I really want the sideline hat or, I want something from the team shop, maybe I do a team shop gift card or something like that. Sweet seats. I ain't got it like that, Sean. Okay. I ain't got it like that. Sideline passes. I ain't got it like that. If I come across those, I'll take care of y'all. I'll raffle them off, but I ain't got it like that. Chris, raffle off your car. I need some new wheels. I got a 2001 Ford F-150 that doesn't currently run sitting in my mom's driveway if you want to buy it. So, all right, a lot of love for the gift cards. Marco says t-shirt. If there's a particular t-shirt that you like, sure. Yeah, gift cards are the best. Yeah, so the team store hat, that's something too. PS5. Well, if I get hacked on Twitter and offer to sell a PS5, then you know what's happened. Probably not. It's a cool idea, but probably not. Can never go wrong with a gift card. All right, so a lot of love for the gift card. A lot of love for the gift card. A couple of stickers and a hat for the grand prize. Yeah, that's not bad. Man. I don't like the sideline hats. Like, I'm not going to buy me one. So, probably won't do that. But like team store gift cards, Fanatics gift cards for just, Academy or something like that. Stuff like that. Maybe we'll do stuff like that. This is a question from Theo. What happened to the new color scheme for the debuts next year? I have heard some things about the jerseys and the logo and stuff like that. I have seen some ideas and some conversations. I believe that everybody's going to enjoy it and like it. How about cash? I ain't got it like that. I mean, I can get y'all some gift cards. I ain't got it like that. Texans coffee mug. What I think is in this team store. So maybe, that works out good. Team store, Fanatics. Yeah, team store exclusive apparel. So stuff that is only available at the team store. If you're a raffle winner and that's what you want instead of a gift card, and hey, I want a extra large this. I'll take care of you guys. Do what I can. All right, Nathan brings up the next thing I want to talk about as we do a little housekeeping here at the back end. pizza party. I want to get together in person, and anybody that can make it out, hang out and talk Texans, do a little, before the season get together thing. I will put at the bottom of one of the lives, in the next few weeks, I'll put a Google form in there. And basically what I'll do is I'll be like, would you come? What would you like for me to provide? What part of town are you in? Yada, 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 yada. And once I have like a good understanding of how many people might show up, that gives me an understanding of what I need to do to kind of take care of everybody that shows up, or take care of what I can. I ain't got it to the point where I'm going to be like, hey, everything's on me, but I can get us some pizzas and some beers to get things started, and we'll hang out and talk about it. So be on the lookout for that in the lives coming up. We'll put a Google Doc together, and we'll go off of that and try to figure out from that standpoint where everything goes. Okay. In the pocket. Stroud just looked nervous. That's all. Dropping late for stream. LOL. Got to be some jitters. Last time this man was on the field, the last time CJ Stroud played in a football game, he was sitting on the sidelines watching his teammate get ready to kick the ball to send them to the national championship, where they were absolutely going to stomp TCU. And then the idiot kicker missed it. Like, that's the last time he was on the field for a game. So, yeah, there's got to be a little jitters. He talked about it post game. He's like, it's cool to be in an NFL stadium, first experience, get that out of the way. And he knows what he did. That's one of the worst parts about life, is when you mess up and you know exactly what you did when you messed up. That is so annoying. It's so annoying. It's annoying to deal with in work. It's annoying to deal with in life. It's annoying to deal with in relationships. When you know what you did and how you messed up right away, when you mess up, it's so annoying. So annoying. I don't, for those wondering, we're talking about the logo change. They're going to update the uniforms, and I don't know if there's going to be a logo change as much as there's going to be an alternate logo. I think you'll still have the bull. I don't want to change it. I was just asking. Dolphins game after party. Not going to put it together that fast. I'm thinking, hold on. Let me pull out the old. I don't like digital calendars. I'm thinking probably in those days before Labor Day, or in a weekday shortly after Labor Day for the pizza party. All right. Everyone loves pizza, right? Everyone loves pizza. Okay. A little bit more housekeeping. Houston football, my website. If you guys are subscribers, you get bonus raffle stuff, as I talked about last time when we ran the raffle. The paid subscription for the website goes live next week. Okay? So everything's free up to this point. It will go, the paid portion will go live next week, and a lot of stuff will be behind the paywall. There will always be something free on the site. I want that to be clear. So if you just want to be a free subscriber to the site, you'll always get something free. Okay? But it goes live next week. It's $7 a month, or $70 for the year. then there's another level. There's a founder's level if you want to go that far. I greatly appreciate it. It helps me a ton. It helps support the team a ton, yada, yada. But I just want to give everybody the heads up so that nobody's freaked out when all of a sudden, some of the stuff's behind the paywall or they got to pay for it. Okay. Again, there will always be something free on the site, www.houfootball.com. There will always be something free on the site. But the subscriptions go live next week. I've had a lot of people already pledge the subscription amount. I greatly appreciate that. That'll go live next week. And there'll be some fun stuff. I'm also hopefully going to take the audio versions of these YouTubes and throw them on a podcast for the subscribers. So if you ever miss this and you're like, well, I don't have time to sit down and watch it, this translates pretty well from an audio standpoint. You don't necessarily have to watch it. So that's going to be a feature for the paid subscribers on the site. You can catch the audio replays of this, and then there will be audio exclusive stuff as well. Okay. All right. What are we missing here? What are we missing? We'll do a gift card raffle before the season starts. Okay. That's that. Start working on the pizza party, and we'll get the houfootball.com stuff going next week. All right. It's a lot of good stuff, man. 90 minutes of the preseason game. Are we going to do 3-hour streams after regular season games? Probably not. There's not that much to get through, but thank you everybody for watching. If we didn't get to anything from the game right here while you've been watching, fire it up from back to the beginning and you can catch it that way. Thank you everybody for coming in, chatting, you guys talking to each other, getting to know each other in the chat. This is not just my YouTube channel. I want to be a part of the Texans community. I want you guys to have fun when you come in here. I want us to have fun on the streams. And then when we meet in person for pizza parties, or, I see you at games, or I come to your tailgates or whatever, we'll have fun that way too. All right. So we're building a community. It's not just, hey, this is Cody's YouTube. We're going to have some fun. All right. And honestly, I have the best job in the world. And it's because you guys come in here and chat and talk and, say nice things. And even sometimes you say mean things to each other, which is sometimes funny. So I appreciate all of you. It is a lot of fun doing what I do, and I really enjoy it. And y'all make it very, very enjoyable to do as well. So thank you all very much. The 11 observations are on the website too for the game, by the way, www.houfootball.com. All right. All right. Y'all know how we finish this thing. It's my charge to you. It's my hope for you as well. We finish all the live streams the same way. Eat good, sleep good, and be good. And we'll talk Texans again soon.